What's up, man?
And lastly for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than
Floyd Mayweather and Terence "Bud" Crawford nearly came to blows live on camera right after Crawford's shocking victory over Canelo Alvarez, with security rushing in as entourages clashed and tension filled the arena. No punches were thrown, but the atmosphere made it clear that the greatest of yesterday, Floyd Mayweather, was standing face-to-face with the greatest of today, Terence Crawford. The confrontation left fans wondering whether it was genuine animosity or just Floyd stirring controversy to keep the spotlight. Because the reality is that after Crawford's win over Canelo, more and more voices in the boxing world are saying his legacy has now surpassed Mayweather's. And that may be the true source of all this heat.
Yeah, and not knocking the guys that paved the way. And I want to come on record and say, I'm appreciative for guys like Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. So many guys that paved the way for me. But there's only one Floyd Mayweather. These fighters are not better than me. You look at the numbers, they say, oh, Canelo may end up beating more world champions than Floyd Mayweather. Wait, he should? With almost, 80 and 90 fights, he should? I beat more world champions than any fighter in history. I'm 50-0, but half of my fights was world title.
For years, Floyd Mayweather reigned as boxing's pound-for-pound king, proudly calling himself TB, the best ever, retiring with an undefeated 50-0 record, never beaten and never knocked down, with victories over Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, and Oscar de la Hoya. But now Terence Crawford has rewritten that story.
Because you are the GOAT of this era, Terence "Bud" Crawford.
He is now a three-time undisputed champion, still undefeated, and has conquered 5 weight divisions. And unlike Floyd Mayweather, who was often criticized for cherry-picking opponents and fighting legends past their prime, Terence Crawford just stepped up and defeated the face of boxing in his prime division.
And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him lightweight. He jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time.
Oh, yes.
That makes
Max Kellerman summed it up perfectly, saying Floyd Mayweather picked and chose when to fight certain opponents, while Terence Crawford was willing to face anyone at any time. And that makes all the difference.
On the fact that Bud was in fact outboxing him in the first half of the fight. It is one of the biggest wins in boxing history. And now let Uncle Max gather around, children, and I will explain this. This is the situation, guys. No one has ever been a 4-division champion in boxing. Not a real one. Oh, Pacquiao won 8 and Oscar De La Hoya won 11 and this one won 15. No, I'm talking about Ring Magazine champ or lineal champ. You are the champion of that division. Forever, the record was 3 by Henry Armstrong. Manny Pacquiao was the first dude to really win 4. Floyd gets credit for 4 for beating Canelo, but that wasn't at the junior middleweight limit. I don't count that. I don't count that. Terence Crawford just joined Manny Pacquiao as the only legit 4-division champion in
the numbers are close and both resumes are elite, but it's Terence Crawford's willingness to take risks that sets him apart. And that's why the boxing world is buzzing with one question. Did Crawford just surpass Floyd Mayweather?
Mayweather.
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. You know, been hard for Mayweather to counter maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, you know, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is their.
Understand why this debate is burning so hot. We have to rewind to the Canelo-Alvarez fight, where all the pre-fight talk centered on Terence Crawford being too small.
Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo.
What do you think's the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 150, 168. You know, that he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, you know, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, you know, of course he's probably been training, you know, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
Moving up 2 weight classes to challenge a natural 168-pounder like Canelo Alvarez seemed insane. But Terence "Bud" Crawford didn't just survive. He outboxed him. Crawford circled, jabbed, countered, and systematically broke Canelo down. While Canelo landed some heavy body shots, they never changed the course of the fight. By round 7, Crawford was standing toe-to-toe and winning the exchanges. And by round 12, the result was undeniable as the judges scored it unanimously in his favor. With that victory, Crawford didn't just prove himself. He made history as the first fighter ever to become undisputed in 3 different weight classes.
You had a Cavs hat on, this time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul, Red, Bernie, Chad, nutritionists. You know, everybody plays a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yes.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So Terence Crawford accomplished something Floyd Mayweather never dared, defeating a bigger champion at his natural weight. And that's the root of Floyd's jealousy. Mayweather has always been the master of narrative, the man who built an empire by branding himself, money, and constantly reminding the world of his flawless record.
Fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
But now the spotlight belongs to Terence Crawford, who is being celebrated as the new pound-for-pound king, while analysts openly debate whether he has already surpassed Floyd Mayweather. Fans highlight that Crawford dared to do what Floyd never did, and Floyd clearly isn't happy about it. That's why he crashed the post-fight moment, why he's suddenly throwing shade at Crawford's legacy, and why he's now trying to stir talk of a fight. Because Floyd knows Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez stole his shine, and he wants it back.
First of all, it feels good, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been this strategy before, so
Yeah, it's good.
it's a no-brainer.
Of course, congratulations on the win. What's your first reactions to Crawford's victory? One of the greats of this era, right?
Oh, definitely that. You know that.
What do you want to see him do now?
What I want to do now?
What do you want to see Crawford do next?
Do what he has this point now in his career where he can do whatever he wanted to do.
Who would you like to see him fight? Any names? Is there any names in particular you'd like to see?
It doesn't matter.
What about Canelo? Would you like to see him retire?
I don't. Canelo's not my responsibility.
Okay.
Terence Crawford once trained with Floyd Mayweather and even called him an influence. But instead of celebrating Crawford's historic win over Canelo Alvarez, Floyd downplayed it, claiming Canelo wasn't that good rather than giving Crawford credit. That's classic Floyd, always protecting his own shine. That's why fans are calling it jealousy, because Terence Crawford wasn't going after Floyd Mayweather. He was elevating the sport, but Floyd can't handle the idea of someone else carrying the torch. And it's not just with Crawford. Look at Gervonta Tank Davis. Floyd built Tank up, used his own name to promote him. But the moment Tank wanted to stand on his own, Floyd cut him down and tried to reclaim the spotlight. It's the same playbook every time. When a fighter threatens Floyd's status, he shifts the narrative.
Diminish your career, because at that time I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to bring up mine. But it was somehow that they were saying that I was messing with his daughter off of.
For years, Floyd Mayweather's case was simple. He was the pay-per-view king and the biggest draw in boxing.
Fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar.
But now Terence Crawford is proving he can do the same. His fight with Canelo Alvarez wasn't just historic, it was a box office smash. Netflix streamed it worldwide. The stadium was sold out, and millions tuned in, making it one of the most watched fights of the last 20 years.
Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
For sure, like it's just, the history, behind the sport is just everything that, I trained for my whole life. It all was, coming out that one night. That was all paying off. You have a lot of people that, adopted this narrative that Terence Crawford can't sell, Terence Crawford is not marketable, and they push the narrative to the public, and that's all people write about. Oh, Terence Crawford can't do this, Terence Crawford can't do that. But any one of Terence Crawford fights, you see a sold out crowd, but they wasn't talking about that. They was talking about how, marketable I'm not, and that kind of was hurting my career because, a lot of people was looking at me and said, oh yeah, they said he's not marketable. Oh, they said he's not, don't have a personality, things like that, because I didn't want to do things their way. I didn't want to put on a show. I didn't want to disrespect my opponents when they wasn't disrespecting me. Right. I wasn't, I'm not a guy that, wear jewelry for no reason. Just the things that I didn't want to do that they wanted me to do. They go out there and say, oh, well, they lost money on me. It's just crazy though to see me headline, not one of the largest attending fight in America.
And that's why Floyd Mayweather is rattled, because Terence Crawford isn't just taking over inside the ring. He's taking over outside it too. So why is Floyd suddenly on the verge of fighting Crawford live? Simple: money and relevance. Mayweather may be retired, but he's never truly left the spotlight, taking on exhibitions against YouTubers, kickboxers, and MMA fighters just to keep the money flowing. The problem is none of those fights carried any real meaning. They lacked legacy. A fight with Crawford would be different. It would be the biggest exhibition ever, with the narrative writing itself. The undefeated legend versus the undefeated king. Old school versus new school. The man who calls himself TB against the man many now believe is greater.
We was ever keep it real, boy.
Never. I'm never that type of guy. I think that's some grimy shit. Always been happy for him, been a fan of his, and I never imagined us fight. Yeah. I never looked at him like, man, I know I'll beat this.
Boy, you capping, bro. I never thought like fantasy fight me versus Floyd, nah.
Never. I never just was with a person and looked at him like, beat his ass. Never. That's some hate type shit to me.
Yeah, like plot.
Yeah, I ain't never been that type of person.
This is about cashing in big and reclaiming the headlines. which is why he's stirring controversy and why he nearly squared up with Terence Crawford live. He wants to bait Bud into one last mega payday. But here's the twist. Crawford isn't interested. He has always respected Floyd, calling him a legend and one of the best ever, but he's never shown any desire to fight him, and for good reason. Facing Floyd adds nothing to Crawford's legacy. Mayweather is 48, long past his prime, and hasn't competed at the elite level in nearly a decade. If Crawford wins, critics will dismiss it by saying Floyd was too old, and if somehow Floyd wins, people will call it a fluke. Either way, the fight does nothing to elevate Crawford's greatness.
To be Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you? Keyshawn beat Tank?
Keyshawn beat everybody. Him and Shakur.
How you feel about them not fighting each other? That's cool?
Yeah, that's cool. They don't need to fight each other.
Was there anybody ever...
They can beat up everybody else.
Was there anybody ever like that in boxing with you? Because not really Sean Porter, right?
No friends in this business. I think Tim Bradley would have been like that.
Okay.
I think Tim Bradley would have been like that. I wouldn't have fought Tim.
If the opportunity presented itself against Floyd, you wouldn't, though, even though you admire him so much and he's so great. But you
Floyd, yeah, because I wasn't as close. Me and Floyd close now, but when Floyd was boxing, I wasn't as close with Floyd like I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore, so that fight ain't gonna happen.
You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you?
I think you got your answer there.
Nah, I didn't hear nothing. Is Floyd better than you? Some fighters say, even like Gervonta
Can't
Davis.
I beat your...
Okay, that's a no. That's a no.
That's why Terence Crawford isn't chasing Floyd Mayweather. He's focused on building his own legacy, whether that means defending his crown, moving up to middleweight, or retiring undefeated. To Crawford, fighting Floyd isn't history, it's just business. He's never been about clout, while Floyd is clearly stirring controversy to sell a fight that only benefits him. Crawford is at his peak, sitting on boxing's throne, while Floyd is the retired legend chasing one more spotlight. Their near brawl wasn't real animosity, it was promotion. Floyd knows controversy sells, that debates will rage, clips will go viral, and his name will be back in the headlines. But at the end of the day, Crawford doesn't need Floyd, because in the eyes of many, he's already surpassed him.
He's top 10.
At least
yeah,
top 10?
top 10 or top 15,
Yeah.
easily, you know? There's guys that we may not know of or heard of, like Henry Armstrong. Simultaneously, he was 3 divisions carrying all 3 weight divisions at the same time.
Which performance was better? I don't like to compare them, but Crawford or Mayweather's over Canelo. Like it's just different.
It's just different styles, different looks, you know? But the punching, the output that he was giving Canelo, definitely gave him...
The real fight is about narrative. Floyd Mayweather's legacy versus Terence Crawford's, the old GOAT versus the new king. After beating Canelo Alvarez, Crawford has officially claimed the torch, whether Floyd accepts it or not. The truth is simple. Mayweather almost squared off with Crawford live, but the true battle is over legacy. Crawford became undisputed in 3 divisions, defeated Canelo, and is now hailed as pound-for-pound #1, selling out stadiums, dominating pay-per-view, and in the eyes of many, surpassing Floyd's legacy. Meanwhile, Floyd is chasing spotlight, money, and relevance, not history. Crawford doesn't care because his name is already etched in it, and fighting Floyd wouldn't add a single chapter to his book. What do you think? Should Crawford entertain Floyd's callouts, or leave the money in the past and focus on his future? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.